Trophied up. Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophied up. Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophied up. Do your dance when the G's up. G. Spaced out. Got me geeked up. 10 toes on the west. Can I beat us? You cannot. Shining every time they meet us. Rack 'em up. Since 96. Yeah. Been number one in LA. Something slight. That's the gist.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talkin Galaxy episode. What are we on, 9 now? Tonight, I will be joined by two guests. We got one returning from Barcelona. We got Galaxy Runs LA, as well as Galaxy News 101. What's good, guys?
What's up? Excited to be back.
Yeah, and
A little break, but I'm back from the hiatus.
if you guys notice, we don't have a duck top right corner today. No more duck. It's episode 9. So, how are you guys feeling tonight?
Doing well. What about you?
Reached 200 subscribers, so I'm doing more than good right now. I got my Galaxy fit on, so yeah, we're ready to rock and roll tonight. Let's just jump right into things. The LA Galaxy are coming off of a draw at Minnesota. If we want to jump into that, the LA Galaxy draw 2-2 at Minnesota United. What do you guys make of this game?
I felt a draw was thoroughly deserved. I think after they scored that penalty, I'm like, there's no way we don't get any points in Minnesota. We deserve that point so much. So I'm happy
Yeah.
to see that Garcia's got that goal and we got that point on the road.
Yeah, Sean?
It's a solid point. We got a point there last year. I'm going to continue to mention results from last year and comparing them to this year because, to me, that matters a lot. But, yeah, I agree with Galaxy Runs LA. It's a solid point, much deserved as well. I feel like, especially in the first half, we should have maybe had more. But overall, I am satisfied with stealing or taking 2 points off of Minnesota.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you had Yeboah, who opened the scoring in the 19th minute. That man's a menace against the Galaxy. I don't know what he has against us, but every time we play him, he puts up incredible numbers. He's a great player, but he opened the scoring in the 19th minute. Obviously, we can't go further without talking about the John McCarthy mistake. What'd you guys think about that? Are you a little harsher on John McCarthy than the people have been, or what's up with that?
I think he should get 2 hands on the ball and keep it like under his grasp. I'm not a keeper myself, never played keeper, not the tallest guy ever, so makes sense. But I mean, I think anyone 2 eyes can see that he probably should be doing better there if he's our starting keeper. So I think he still gets a start following weeks. He did good apart from that blunder, so definitely keeps his spot. And yeah,
Sean?
It's a big mistake on his end. Watching the replay, it looks like he could have just maybe just taken a step to his left and then just catch it like a normal goalkeeper you would see do. He made it so much more difficult himself than what it actually needed to be. Costly mistake, but yeah, I agree. He's going to continue to have that starting role, especially when you look at his stats and how many goals he's conceded compared to Mikovic.
Yeah. You have John McCarthy in all competitions have conceded 5 goals, including CONCACAF. In 4 games, he's conceded 5, and then Novak Mitrovic in 3 games, he's conceded 7. And we had an interesting conversation about that. And I guess I would, personally, obviously, I don't, as you guys said, you have to be getting 2 hands. You have to be getting 2 hands on that ball there. But I'm not. Novak Mitrovic has also made some mistakes. So I don't think either people. I think both goalkeepers have had their fair share of mistakes this season. But do you guys think the defense has more to play in the overall lackluster goalkeeper play this season, or what?
I think these plays are on the keeper specifically. I mean, this one, there's no like defenders that can stop that shot. It's only the keeper, and that's their sole purpose is to save those types of things. So I think that one's definitely on McCarthy and the keepers. And then let's see, the first game against San Diego, I think it's like half on Mikovic, half on Garces, because Mikovic plays an absolute hospital ball. And then Garces takes his touch right into I think Angel on San Diego. So just unlucky on that one. And then I think the other ones, it's mostly just keeper mistakes. Like it's not on the defense.
Yeah, Sean?
Yeah, this is a mistake on McCarthy for sure. we've seen most of the goals that both of these goalkeepers have given up, I strongly believe isn't on them. When we look at Mitrovic again in that San Diego moment, you could put blame on him for it, but I don't put 100% blame. That's on Garces as well. Then when you look up that last minute winner that Vancouver scored, I don't think that's on Mitrovic. Zanka needs to actually defend the ball instead of standing there. But then you look at McCarthy, the goal he gave up in CONCACAF, couldn't really do too much about it. It was a great long range effort. The 2 goals he gave up against Minnesota, I strongly believe one of them, well, the first goal was on him, and then keepers don't have a high chance of saving penalties anyway. So don't blame him too much for not saving Yeboah's effort.
Yeah. No, I my whole thing is like I said, anyone thinking that John McCarthy was going to come in and be this hero, I think was a little blindsided by the playoff run that we had. I guess that kind of relates a little to the people who still, think that Gaston Brugman would have made a huge impact this year. I think we've been a little blindsided by how good that playoff run was. I think McCarthy had really good form at the end of the year, but he's also very prone to mistakes. Let's not forget, after Leagues Cup, a lot of people were calling for Novak Mitrovic to start at the time because John McCarthy was faltering on set pieces. So, there was a lot of conversation about that. So I think you have to give John McCarthy his fair criticism if you're going to be critical to Novak Mitrovic on every single thing. I do agree with some people that thought that he became a scapegoat at times, Novak Mitrovic, because you'd see some goals that the Galaxy conceded that I think he was being a bit harshly blamed for. But it's like, you kind of got to keep that same energy regardless of who's in net. If you're going to be critical to a goalkeeper, you have to play both sides of it, because I think it's fair to say that John McCarthy made a mistake. But then immediately after, you got Christian Ramirez. When's the last time the Galaxy scored a header? And it's been a while. We haven't had a real aerial threat in a while, and it was a nice header. What'd you guys think of that?
It was nice. I mean, that's a striker's finish right there. That's what you get paid the big bucks for. So I'm happy he's finally getting into form, and I'm excited to see him this weekend. Hopefully he backs another to make it 4-4.
Yeah, Sean?
Yes, he is on fire right now. 3 goals in his last 3 games. That was a brilliant finish on his end. I think maybe Yamane scuffed his cross a little bit, but I could be wrong and just didn't watch it thoroughly enough. But the fact that he was able to score from that position, I saw a few people mention on Twitter, that was very Zlatan-esque. I want to point that out.
Yeah. No, I think it's nice to see somebody that can score in the air. Last season with Dejan Joveljic, he could also score in the air at times. You'd see him get on the end of some crosses. But Christian Ramirez, even from the advanced stats standpoint, he was always very good with aerial duels. And I think you're seeing that here. He's, proving to be a threat in the air. And yeah, like you guys both said, 3 goals in 3 games. This is a striker in form. And I'm really glad to see it with Christian Ramirez, because the first couple games, he lacked chemistry with the team. You could tell it was affecting him on the field. He was a very proven goal scorer with the Columbus Crew. He helped them win the 2023 MLS Cup. He was a huge part of that campaign. And you're like, where is that guy now for the LA Galaxy? He's here and he's showing up. And I'm very happy about that. And then obviously Yeboah penalty on a Mayoshida handball. No argument there. I've seen some people say that wasn't a penalty. It absolutely is. Does anyone disagree on that?
It's just unlucky. He's not made to throw his arm up, but it's definitely a penalty. His arm is extended from his body. And then going back to Ramirez, we also got Pencil coming back this weekend. So I can't wait to see that combination with Peck on the right, Pencil on the left, and then Ramirez up the middle. Hopefully get some goals for once at home.
Yeah, Sean?
Yeah, back to Ramirez, I think it's only upward from here for him, especially when you have key players coming back. But with the handball, yeah, it's a penalty. Earlier in the morning, actually, I didn't think it was, but I rewatched the tapes and saw, yeah, it's 100% a penalty. I don't know what Yoshida was doing there. The ball was going to go wide, and he just made a huge error there.
I feel like that's a natural reaction, though. Like, from a defender standpoint, he was trying to protect himself. Is it a penalty? Absolutely, 100%. But I agree with Galaxy runs LA. I think it was more unlucky than anything on his part of just, committing a critical handball out of will. I feel like he was trying to protect himself. Was it in an unnatural position? Unfortunately, yes. Every time that's going to be called a handball. But, I think I think it's a very fair assessment to say that that is a penalty. I don't think there's any debating that, but I think he just got a bit unlucky there. Obviously, Yeboah scores the penalty, sends McCarthy the other way. Not much he could do about that. But the main point here is that the Galaxy, I know some people who turned their TVs off, and I certainly was in the camp that this game was finished after the Yeboah penalty. Rescue a point here with an Amiro Garces of all people you can imagine. Amiro Garces gets subbed on and grabs a goal off of a set piece. How'd you guys like that goal by Amiro Garces?
It's really nice to be on the opposite end of scoring a set piece. We're always conceding set pieces, so it's nice to finally be on the side that gets a goal from a set piece. Some people say like, oh, set pieces are lucky and they're not like from open play, so they're not like real goals. But I mean, when you're scoring them, he can't really complain. So happy we got that goal. Good for Garces, who is kind of struggling at the moment for minutes. So hopefully that gets him back in his groove, and hopefully he gets more minutes because at the start of the season, I voted him to get the most minutes. So right now it's not looking very likely, and my prediction is probably going to be wrong.
Yeah, Sean.
Man, I loved it. You can see how much it meant to Garces in the celebration. He needed that type of energy, that momentum, and hopefully he continues that just good vibe, good energy going into this weekend.
Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, Amiro Garces, I think it's right to say, we were talking about last podcast, has kind of hit a sophomore slump. And I think this is a good start for him to recover some form. And I think morale-wise, it's huge. And I know some people were wondering if Joseph Paintsil's for sure back. I believe Greg Vanney said so. We'll go into some injury updates. But first, let's, Galaxy get a point here. First or second road point of the season, and an undefeated road campaign in the past 2 matches. So let's move on to open training here. Sean, I know you were here. Let's start with you. Were you there
So,
too? Galaxy runs LA or no?
No, I got school.
Yeah, Sean.
there was an open training today for some season ticket members that were selected. It was most of the team. There was some names missing here, most notably Marco Royce, which I found a bit odd. Um, then again, it's also Marco Royce, and he is dealing with a little bit of a knock. But yeah, this was just about an hour and a half ish of the team training and then going around signing autographs. But it was high. It was a lot of focus on high pressing and going for that second ball today. I don't know if that's typically what they do for these types of events, but they made sure the players were running and breaking a sweat for sure.
Yeah, Galaxy runs LA. How do you like open trainings?
Yeah. I've actually never been.
Okay.
I'm not a season ticket member, so I've never been like invited out. But I hope one time I just get to get someone's ticket or something and show up. It seems really cool because I've never actually been to like a professional team's like practice almost. Like I've only been at my college team's practices, and it'd be kind of cool just to see like how how it differs from a collegiate athlete standpoint to a like a professional standpoint. So definitely on the bucket list, and hopefully we check it off this year.
Yeah, I've actually been to a few of these. Actually, when I had like platinum season tickets, they had like members at the pitch or something where it's like they had a whole breakfast setup kind of going on there. It was interesting. It's cool that you get to meet all the players after. I know, Sean, you got to meet your goat Elijah Winder. I could tell you're very happy about that earlier today.
Yes, sir.
It's just super cool that you get to meet a lot of these players. And like you said, I don't know if Marco Royce being out is that surprising. It could just be a load management thing, and you've seen him, miss the past couple of games with injury. I don't think the Galaxy are too bothered by missing Marco Royce, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, let's move on to some updates now. First, we got Amir Cuevas. Galaxy runs LA. Would you like to touch on this? You posted this on
Yeah, so this is actually reported by Sean. He actually asked him. So he said that he's still got like 4 or 5 weeks left in him before he gets back. So I don't know if that's like to get back on the pitch. He was pretty vague, right, Sean? You're gonna say,
He didn't give an exact date. I just said, "Yo, when are we gonna expect to see you back out with us?" And he said, "Hopefully in that 3 to 6 ish week range." Thank you to Matthew for also helping me out with that. He was there, avid podcast listener. Um, But yeah, he didn't say like, oh, 3 to 6-ish weeks for me to be on the pitch and starting games, or at least getting subbed into games. He just said 3 to 6-ish weeks. He looked healthy from what I was watching. It didn't look like he was struggling too much or limping or anything. He was running around active with the rest of the team. There was a few players in the beginning, him, Sanabria, and my mind's drawing a blank, but one other player there who was doing just different drills for the first 15-ish minutes just on the sideline, like different stretches and stuff. So hopefully it's nothing too serious with Cuevas, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him back out there.
Yeah, I mean, Amir Cuevas or Mauricio. I believe the first time he was around with the Galaxy, we called him Amir Cuevas. That's why I still stumble on that. But Mauricio Cuevas, yeah, 3 to 6 weeks, pretty broad range. Obviously, I don't think the player is going to give an exact date. Like I'll be here by this game, but I think it is a positive sign that there's a general time frame on when the Galaxy expect to have him back. Right now, having Harbor Miller in his place, Harbor Miller's taking full advantage of that opportunity to step into the right back role. And yeah, I mean, Mauricio Cuevas, the more people healthy, the better. The Galaxy have faced quite the injury bug so far this season. And as well, let's talk about another fullback that we have some injury updates on is John Nelson here. Do you guys want to touch on that a bit?
Yeah, he said that they don't really give like an exact date. John Nelson seemed pretty certain that he's gonna be back for Tigres, so that's a big pickup to get back in the squad. We'll see if he starts over Aude, because Aude's low-key been balling out, so that'll be an interesting storyline to kind of follow, similar to like the Mikovic McCarthy controversy. Who's gonna start at left back? I'm assuming it's just gonna be Aude just because he's game fit, match fit, ready, been playing for multiple games in a row. So I mean, either way, it's good to have Nelson back.
Yeah, for sure. Sean?
Yeah, it's always great to have your players here, especially when they're a huge help in the locker room, as well as just help out with depth. Yeah, like Galaxy Ronzale mentioned, Nelson did say his exact words were, "I'm hoping to be back out there for Tigres." So that's a huge positive, which will also help take a bit of a weight off of Awude just a little bit, because if you're Awude, you're coming off of an injury, you're coming back into the squad, and you're being asked to play 90 minutes multiple times a week, especially when you're in CONCACAF. That's a lot to take on for a player. So having Nelson come back in will help him out a lot as well.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think John Nelson makes the left back spot very competitive. You've seen them kind of rotate through. I think Julian Ade is the man in form. But, never count out John Nelson. Who would have thought that he would be starting in an MLS Cup final? So the more people, the merrier. And I think the Galaxy are certainly lacking depth right now where, if anything were to happen to Julian Ade, where would we sit at? You'd have to move a lot of pieces around. So having John Nelson back in the mix, obviously, I wouldn't expect him to start against Tigres. I think Julian Ade is probably a starter going forward. But when you have rotational games, I think John Nelson becomes a very, very important figure for the Galaxy, because April is going to be a very busy schedule, and even more so if we get to the quarterfinals of CONCACAF. So it's not going to be light for the Galaxy. It's not going to be forgiving. And you're going to need guys like John Nelson to step up and step into the left back role and just put in a shift. And I think he's certainly capable of that. He's proven it time and time again. He's very reliable. He's very dependable. You always get a solid performance out of John Nelson. He's not, prone to committing too many errors, I feel like, compared to some other, left backs we've had in our past. And especially when Julian Ade is in poor form. But I think right now Ade is in form. He's the hot hand. So John Nelson has plenty of time to recover. He has plenty of time to get integrated back into the team. So maybe we'll see him get, 10 to 15 minutes against Tigres, but I wouldn't expect a bulk of it. And then our final injury update here is Lucas Sanabria. You guys want to start on this? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Sean, you reported this as well. I'm pretty sure it's 2 months until he's expected back, so still a while for him. It really sucks. Vanny seemed really high on him, and just to get that broken collarbone, it just halts all like motivation. So hopefully he comes back. all good, and he's ready to play because we'll need him. We got a ton of games, so depth in midfield is much needed.
Yeah, for sure. Sean?
Yeah, I mean, it's not looking good, is it really, for this? Sanabria, U22, you always want your big players playing in as many games as possible, contributing as much as possible. But when you have a player coming into the squad, having to adapt and then get injured in, what was it, his second game here, it's such a big blow. And again, having him out for 2 months. Can we take a quick look at the schedule for the next couple months? Because I know you were mentioning April a bit, but it doesn't get easy from here, really.
Yeah.
Especially looking at May.
Yeah. I think, okay, I will pull up the schedule right now, but I think when you look at a target for Lucas Sanabria returning, there's a stretch where you play like 3 rivalry games in like a week and a half span. If you want to get him back for those, that would be pretty important to get a pivotal midfielder. But right now, you got the Galaxy obviously playing Orlando on Saturday. We'll go over that. Tigres on Tuesday. We will not have a podcast on that day, as we will be at the stadium for that. Some of us will be. So Tigres at the start of April. You got you see here, you got Real Salt Lake on the road within 4 days, and then the next within 3 days later, you got to go on the road to Mexico. 4 days later, you got Galaxy versus Houston, Austin on the road, Portland. What's worth mentioning here in April is that if the Galaxy advance, the semifinals will be in April as well. So you're looking at potential 2 extra fixtures there. And then May, you could see at the bottom, you got May the 4th, you got Galaxy on the road to Kansas City, Red Bulls, MLS Cup rematch, this time in New York, Philly. But more importantly, when I feel like you could see Sanabria is that stretch where you got a home El Tráfico, away at San Diego, and home at San Jose. Do you feel like that's fair?
Yeah, I say that's around when they probably want him back, just because those are tough games. I mean, San Jose's been doing pretty good. LAFC is always gonna be tough, no matter if they're doing good or not. And then San Diego obviously got the better of us, so now we got to go to their place and smash them.
Yeah, I agree. Sean?
Yeah, man, this May schedule absolutely sucks, bro. You have 3 difficult road trips, like you mentioned, and then 3 rivalry games. If Sanabria is coming back, let's say around that Philadelphia LAFC time, and he's, let's say, 75% or even 85%, would you be starting him right away in these rivalry games?
Yes. How about you, Galaxy runs LA? Just straight up yes from me.
I mean, depends on if he's match fit. I don't want to risk him throwing him in such an intense game with all like the tempers flaring and all. So I just have to see if he can get 1 game under his belt. I think he definitely starts the first one. So I think he has to get some minutes versus Philly. Is it Philly before? Yeah. Definitely
Yeah.
needs to get minutes at Philly if he wants to play at LAFC.
Yeah. Sean, would you?
Honestly, no. You are going to be relying a lot on your youngsters here, and I so strongly believe the best is yet to come. And these youngsters, like Lepley, Parente, Winder, Ruben Ramos Jr., will be balling out, and I think they will have themselves a starting spot come that time. So I wouldn't want to risk rushing Sanabria back either and having him worsen his injury, because we've seen that happen in the past and happens all the time all around the world. But it's such a difficult spot you're in, because let's say you're not performing well with the players you have, and you're 2 months is a long time considering the games we have there. And if, let's say, we lose half these games, just straight up lose them, that's a lot of points you need to make up if you want to push, especially for a home playoff game. So, I mean, if you're in that position where you need as much points as possible, then I would understand if you start him, and I would maybe consider him starting, but I wouldn't right away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's something interesting to look at it from the perspective of what does Parente's form look like at the time? What does the other midfielders' form look like? This is such a macro perspective on the season. Although it's only 2 months away, look how many games we played before this. There's a lot of things that could go south or wayward Sanabria is not in, he didn't end in the best of form. He wasn't looking like a competent midfielder for the LA Galaxy. So I think it is fair to say that he should sit the bench, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, if he's like 80% ready to go, get him like 60 minutes. Get him like 60 minutes and then sit him on and then, pull him out for someone like Isaiah Parente or something that could, has proven that they could take over the rest of the minutes. That being said, I think it's very important to get the midfielder that you spent $5 million in integrated into the lineup. So I'd like to see him back, especially for a big rivalry game. He's played big games in Argentina, so I think he'll be up for the moment potentially. I just want to see him hit better form, and it's almost like he gets a chance at a restart. Given how poorly he was the first 2 games, he kind of realized that, hey, this guy's not Mark Delgado. So, yeah, any last words on this schedule or Lucas Sanabria?
Not on Lucas Sanabria, but another signing from the summer or winter. We need to see more from Nascimento, in my opinion. Given he's only getting minutes off the bench, that's just not ideal for him in like getting integrated into the squad. But we need to see more from him. He's got some hype around him, but he just is not showing up. So hopefully through these stretch of games and all these games, he'll be more informed because we're gonna need all our attackers firing on all cylinders by the time this stretch of game comes. Because if we lose all 3, people are gonna be coming for everyone's heads. So we need informed players.
Yeah, I 100%. Sean, I don't think your audio is working right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Yeah, Nascimento, I hope to see more from him in the following games. Also coming off an injury. You can pretty much say that for everyone on the squad, considering half of them are coming off of injuries at this point. Yeah, I still will back what I said a few weeks back. The best is yet to come, and I think we will be seeing that best very soon.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I mean, you need to win these 3 rivalry games. At least the El Trafico. At least the El Trafico and Cali Classico. Losing San Diego again. Ideally, you want to win all 3, but if you could get a point on the road in San Diego, that's probably an okay result. I guess it depends where they are at the time. They also got some issues with Chucky Lozano, his hamstring, and they've kind of hit a poor run of form. So we'll see how that develops. But right now, I just want to take some questions from the chat. You could, aim it at Galaxy Runs LA, Sean, or myself, or all of us. Just go ahead, send the questions in, and we will get to that before we move on to an Orlando preview. So it could be about the injuries. It could be about the last match. Just go ahead. Send those in.
And while we're waiting for questions, I want to shout out Matt, who is also there at the open training, who kind of gives a little insight to all the injury updates. So thank you to him. He's asking for that shout out in the comments.
Yeah. Shout out Matt. But just what you said, Galaxy Runs LA. I think Nascimento definitely needs a bit more time. He's just came off the bench the past couple of games. He hasn't looked bad, but he hasn't looked great. I think he's a player, especially on loan. If you want to trigger that buy-on option, he's going to need to prove his worth to the Galaxy, and it's going to have to be quick. We got the first question. Do you guys think Isaiah Parente will be a breakout player this year? Go ahead, Galaxy Runs LA. We'll start with you.
I think he's got all the capabilities to be that player. I mean, we have that open spot in the midfield, and he's kind of grasped that. I think he's been honestly probably our best, most consistent midfielder through these stretch of games. So hopefully he continues that. I was watching him last season at VCSC games. I go to every game, and he's always just controlling that midfield. I honestly thought he was better than Lepley. I know my race not gonna like that, but I thought when Parente played in the midfield, I thought he was better than Lepley. That's maybe a hot take. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else has watched VCSC games like me, but that's my thoughts.
I agree, but I don't know if Sean will. Go ahead, Sean. Do you disagree?
I think Parente can be a breakout player for sure. I know you guys know who I'm gonna say will be the breakout player, and that's Winder. I think I originally said Nascimento, but I'm still believing in Winder through and through. But I don't see why Parente can't be a breakout player for sure. He has a talent. We've seen it in the games. He has a talent. He's just gonna need time to adapt to the team that he's on, as well as adapting to the physicality of MLS compared to MLS Next Pro.
Yeah, I agree. I think Isaiah Parente right now, if I had to pick a breakout player of the season so far for the Galaxy, it'd be between him or Harbor Miller, but I would lean towards Parente. I thought he was crucial, especially in that Herediano, turning that fixture around. I thought Isaiah Parente was absolutely massive. He's been, very reliable. Honestly, a bit shocking to see him not look uncomfortable whatsoever in that Galaxy midfield. That's where it's like, okay, if Lucas Sanabria is, still recovering from an injury in May, then, if Parente keeps up his form, I don't mind starting him in those games. I don't particularly mind it, but we got one for Sean. How many more stakes before you think John McCarthy's out?
That's very difficult to judge because you're gonna, if he continues to make a lot of mistakes like the one he made versus Minnesota, you're gonna have to put him back on the bench, in my opinion. But I mean, do you play JT? I mean, I don't see it, and you already kicked Mikovic off. I don't see you bringing him back in for MLS play at least. So yeah, if he continues to make these, I guess you could say, children mistakes of just not making the best decisions, especially in the box, you're gonna see him back on the bench surely. I mean, it's just so difficult to say. I mean, what do you think, Peyton?
What do I think? I agree. It would take a couple more huge mistakes, and I don't imagine him making that. One thing that we didn't really touch on is the fact that I thought John McCarthy played fine after that mistake. Obviously, it was a huge mistake, but he also, made up for it in some ways by making other pretty, pivotal saves at crucial moments for the Galaxy. But we got another question. Do you think Johnny Perez is a player that needs to be recalled from loan? I know Galaxy Runs LA, you talked about on your Instagram him scoring. So would you like to start on that?
Yeah, I thought it was really nice to see. Perez got that goal, and then him and Brugman embracing after that is it's stuff you like to see. Two former G's hugging it out after they succeed. So, I mean, what's it called? So we have an option to recall him from loan in the summer. If not, then he returns on loan, or he has an option to get bought from Nashville. So I think if he keeps up his form, I don't see why we don't bring him back in, considering the summertime is most likely where Peck is going to get some offers, kind of get tempted to Europe. So we will need some depth at that winger spot. So definitely something to keep an eye on, because I think Johnny Perez could be a depth piece that we low key kind of need.
Yeah. Sean?
Man, I love Perez. It's great to see him scoring. And like you mentioned, Galaxy Gonzalez, him with Brugman is always something nice to see. I think this is an option that you have to highly look at, because right now you don't have a backup for Peck, and your backup for Peck maybe in the future might be Cuevas, which isn't ideal. The only reason why I don't think the Galaxy would maybe want to bring Perez back is because of his salary is a little pricey for somebody who would be on the bench and not getting consistent minutes.
I don't know how his agent fleeced that out of the Galaxy. $300,000 for a player that I'm not even sure had a goal for the main team when he played for us. That being said, pretty big prospect. If he was making less money and he continues his good form for Nashville, I would have no problem bringing him back. But personally, trade him. I think you trade him in the summer. I think you trade him. If he plays well, his value will only go up, and you'll be able to offload the $300K plus whatever you get in exchange. Hopefully he continues balling for Nashville. I wish, the most success for him. That's only going to raise his value, and he's a good kid. So I'd love to see him come back at the right price, but I don't think he's making that. So I think the Galaxy will end up parting ways with him. Maybe Nashville will end up buying him permanently. We got another question. Do you guys think the Galaxy will sign one more player before the window closes?
We do not have space right now, so I think that's a no for now. I mean, we just sold Beboot today, kind of out of nowhere. So we do still kind of have some movement for room or room for movement. So maybe we do some more moves before the window ends and bring another player, but I think that's highly unlikely.
Yeah, Sean.
No, I don't think you see it at all. If the team wanted a player, you would have already got one. You're already about 10 games into the season, so having to scout a player, bring in a player, and have him adapt already around 10-ish games past, it just doesn't seem possible to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then we'll do one last question before we move on here. From Raul, do you guys think that sending Aaron Bibu, wow, that's a crazy mispronunciation. Do you think sending him out will send Nascimento to Ventura County to maybe get some minutes? Do you guys see that potentially?
I don't see him going down. He's a first teamer. I think what's it called? Our VCFC's got a decent amount of attacking depth. They obviously signed Luis Mueller from LAFC too, so I think on VCFC side, it's just for the academy kids coming up and then players to kind of just get some minutes before hopefully making a move up. But I don't think Nascimento needs those minutes at VCFC.
Hmm. Sean?
No, I don't think there's a chance Nascimento goes down, especially if he's training with the first team. And I mean, he's only had 2 appearances, but it's still 2 appearances with the main team. I just don't see it being possible, especially since he's a U22 as well.
Yeah, I don't think, once again, I don't think we have another move in us this window because I don't think we have any money like you were talking about. Galaxy runs LA. I don't think we have any money to spend or splash, but I think there's availability in the summer to potentially move some pieces. On Nascimento, no, I don't think he'll go down to Ventura County unless he's really lacking on minutes, which I just don't see happening, especially with how thin our forward depth is right now. I will say, and I think this is important to touch on, you know what interests me is Charlotte's mechanism. Charlotte will bring players in on a transfer fee from their second team. They'll bring players in for like $3 million, sign them to the second team, develop them through there. Like you could spend money without it impacting the salary cap, and then they move them up to the Charlotte main team. And it's like a way, I guess, if you're looking at like a modern Bruce Arena method at moving and manipulating the salary cap, maybe you take a page out of Charlotte's playbook and sign some players to Ventura County. The main team isn't doing too well right now in terms of finances, but maybe a player can come in through Ventura County and develop through there for a little bit and then move up to the main team. That could definitely be in the realm of possibility, but I don't know if other teams will utilize that or not. So
I didn't realize that was a thing.
yeah, they brought, I think, 3 players in through that mechanism, like for good salary, like transfer fees, like over $1 million, and then they just move them up and avoid salary implications.
Yeah, that's low-key the meta. We might need to try that.
Yeah, where's Will Kuntz right now? I hope he's listening to the pod.
Yeah.
But that could be something that the Galaxy looks at. I think that's very interesting. I heard it on the MLS 360 broadcast of the Charlotte. No, I think it was just the Charlotte Atlanta game or whatever. They're talking about some of the players that have came up. So maybe that's something the Galaxy look at. But we are going to move on now to our next home match, which is LA Galaxy versus Orlando City SC, which will be played on Saturday. Bless up, Saturday at 7:30, just like the old days last season. No more Sunday games for the Galaxy. Orlando City are currently, ninth place. They have 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss in MLS play this year. Thoughts on this matchup?
It's gonna be a tough one. Obviously, Orlando just came off the 4-1 battering of DC United. I mean, it is DC United. They're not the best team, but I mean, neither are we. So it's gonna be a tough one. Orlando obviously was firing. Player to keep an eye out for is Martin Ojeda. That guy has been balling out for them. So he's like their 10. He plays in the half spaces, likes to turn and then feed balls through to Luis Muriel. So it's gonna be a tough one. But excited to see how we do.
Yeah, me too. Sean?
Yeah, it's going to be a close game. Historically, this game doesn't favor us, at least under Vanny. I believe we've played them only twice, and we haven't beaten them. I know that for sure. I don't remember us beating Orlando in a long time. But we also don't play them often. Key things to look for in this game is Christian Ramirez and his form currently. And I think the main thing to look out for is Joseph Painter's return. I am so excited for this game just because JP will be back. Hopefully, he gets on that score sheet and we can listen to Blessings in the stadium again, because that would be just wonderful this week for us.
Yeah, no, that would be a great way to start a very difficult stretch of games for the LA Galaxy. You want to start with a win, and I honestly don't mind drawing away games. I think you saw the Portland game where maybe you felt like we could have got 3 points, but at the same time, you're like, okay, we should have probably gotten a penalty, so we'll take one. And then Minnesota is like, yeah, we completely, robbed them of the point, and you take it home. But you got to win your home games now. If you get a point on the road, the strategy is get a draw on the road, if better, of course, awesome. But get a draw on the road, win your home games. This is, our home has not been a fortress so far this season. Orlando City, they dismantled their opponent last matchup. You saw Luis Muriel. I believe it was 4-1, I believe was the final score of that game. At home, they were very lethal. They're very clinical. So we got to capitalize on our chances. I agree with you. Joseph Paintsel, though, I would expect to see about 20 to 30 minutes out of. Probably more lower side of 20. I don't imagine Joseph Paintsel gets a start here because you want to save him for Tigres. You want to make sure he's ready to start that matchup. And, you roll with Diego Fagundes. One more game, guys. You could all endure it, I promise. I know Diego Fagundes got a lot of flack from fans on Twitter, but I think you'll see him start this match. So if I'm looking, what do you guys think in terms of starting lineup for the Galaxy for this game?
I think we go McCarthy, Zonka, Yoshida, Aude, Yamane, Cerrillo, Parente, and Lepley, Fagundes, Ramirez, Peck. So same formation. I don't know why I just named the starting formation from last time, but same formation as last game. And then depending on how Fagundes is doing, maybe sub him off around 60th minute for Paintsel, or maybe sub Lepley off and move Fagundes to the 10.
Yeah. Sean, do you have anything different here?
Oh, no, it's actually the exact same thing the Galaxy Renzolet has. I agree. Maybe you see Fagundes being moved to the midfield if he isn't performing well, but realistically, I think he would get subbed off for Paintsel, and then you do other moves in the midfield.
Yeah. By the way, I do not condone talking to Diego Fagundes or anyone on Twitter. I know he's been clapping back at them. It's just not the right behavior from fans.
Yeah, I mean, just to talk about a little bit. I mean, if you're an LA Galaxy fan, you don't want to be bashing down players. You want to be bringing them up in these tough times. So it's just something you don't want to do, and highly am against it. So if you see that, try to report it, get it off, because it just isn't a good look for us as fans.
Yeah, I think when you have a big fan base, you run into that issue a lot of, you got a lot of people who take a platform like Twitter and they just think that you could say whatever. If you want to say something behind your back, personally, do I think Diego Fagundes has lived up to his salary? No, but I'm not going to straight up say that to him on Twitter. There's no point. You're not doing anything positive. I don't condone it, and nobody does, and nobody should be doing that. You should be lifting these players up. But Orlando City, back to this game, I think are very intriguing of a team. Like you said, like you guys talked about, historically, they've had, our number in the past few years. Ever since they came into the league, they've been a difficult team for the Galaxy to play against. That being said, we've built some good momentum, regardless of the fact that we haven't gotten a win. I think the Galaxy have built some very good momentum in these draws. I would have expected that we would have lost one of these two games that we ended up getting a point on the road in. Last season, we also drew at Minnesota and we lost at Portland. So, if you're looking at a net positive, we actually did better than last season in those two fixtures. But I think Orlando, you need to get 3 points. So we'll go into predictions here. But personally, I have the Galaxy winning this game and getting our first win of the campaign and a 3-2 thriller. I think this will be a very high-scoring game. What do you guys think?
I just want goals for us. Let's see. So San Diego didn't score a goal St. Louis didn't score a goal. The only goals we've seen at the digs has been versus Herediano. Like, you gotta score a goal at home in the MLS. So hopefully that changes. Ideally 2-0, but I do think we concede. So I think realistically 2-1 to us.
Yeah, Sean.
I'm going with you here, Peyton. I'm going a 3-2 win. I will say Ramirez gets one, give Fagundes one, and Peck as well. The entire front three will get a goal today against Orlando.
I think goal scorer wise, I think Gabriel Peck will have a brace. I think he'll pick up form here. I think he'll get a brace. He's been a staple pick on every single prediction I've had because he's the very safe pick for the LA Galaxy. And I think if you're looking at a 3-2 thriller game, Gabriel Peck has to get on the score sheet. I say 3-2, but in reality, this is probably now going to end 0-0. So, but I think Gabriel Peck gets a brace, and I think Christian Ramirez continues scoring. So I would love to see Tucker Lepley. I know our moderator in the chat is talking about wanting a Tucker Lepley goal. He almost scored against Portland. I thought that was a very good strike he had. But Galaxy runs LA. What is your goal scorers?
I'm gonna go. Let's see. I think Peck's got to get one. I think Ramirez gets the other.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much where the Galaxy are heading. I mean, you look at the two people who have scored. You know what surprised me a bit is Miguel Berry is leading our team in assists right now, obviously with 2 versus everyone else with 1 that has an assist. But Miguel Berry, who would have thought at the beginning of the season that he'd be leading us 5 games in assists? What a wacky little way to start the season for the Galaxy. We got a 2-1 shout from Griffin in the chat with the Diego Fagundes and Paintsel go off the bench. Paintsel scoring would be great to see him get back into form. I think he's going to shake up the dynamic a lot and maybe even free up Gabriel Peck a little bit because teams are going to realize that, hey, we can't double Gabriel Peck because Joseph Paintsel is just going to run in behind our defense and score. So maybe you get Peck one-on-one ISO, and that's just naturally going to make Peck better. And if not, Paintsel's going to score. So I love that. I love that little winger dynamic the Galaxy have here. But all of us have the Galaxy winning here. Do you think there's any chance that we drop this matchup against Orlando?
I mean, the only thing is a possibility is maybe we rest some players towards the end for Tigres because this is an Eastern Conference team. So technically, this isn't a team that we're going to be going hard on because it's not like a 6.0 where the teams are closer in the table. Like this is complete opposite conference. So maybe we do rest some players and maybe nag a late goal or something. So who knows?
Yeah. Sean?
Oh yeah, this could easily be a game we don't win. We've seen we aren't dangerous at home, and we've been giving up goals at home. But who knows? This will most likely be seeing McCarthy in net for the first time at Dignity Health this season. So maybe that will change some things up. Maybe there'll be more communication in that back line because we saw there was some issues with that going on against St. Louis especially.
Yeah. I don't know. I have good vibes going into this game that the Galaxy are going to get a win. That being said, could it be a loss? I mean, we haven't won at all this season, so could it flip the opposite way? Sure, but I'm pretty positive the Galaxy get our first win here at home, Orlando City. Obviously they don't have CONCACAF, but I think the main thing to watch here is the counterattacks. If we could limit and control the amount of counterattacks and good opportunities that Orlando gets in transition, and more so, the Galaxy, if you're going to turn over the ball, we've looked at a lot, we have to be able to turn over the ball higher up the field. We can't lose the ball in our own half because then it leaves us very subjected to getting scored on. I think set pieces will also be an issue. They have some pretty big center backs. I know Schlegel, I don't know if he's going to play in this matchup, but he's been an issue in previous years for Orlando off of set pieces. And obviously, we're not a good team defending set pieces. So could they, score a set piece goal? Absolutely. And, just see it out from there. From their perspective, it's a smash and grab game. But I think more realistically, it could be one of those draws where the Galaxy feel like that they drop 2 points instead of, like it was against Minnesota where it's like, okay, we salvaged a point. It could be like, okay, we kind of dropped, if anything, but I think the Galaxy win here. I'm pretty certain about that. So now we will transition. Any last things on Orlando? You guys will all be there, right?
Yep.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Sean, anything more about Orlando?
No, I think that was it.
Okay. We will move on to our next topic here is LA Galaxy versus Tigres, which we will have to preview because we will not have a podcast on that day. But the LA Galaxy will host Tigres on April Fool's Day. So CONCACAF Champions Cup, you see the graphic here. We will be hosting the quarterfinal matchup. This game will kick off. By the way, be aware this will be an 8:15 p.m. kickoff, and when it actually kicks off, it's going to look more like 8:25. So it's going to be a very late game. I think Tigres are going to want to come out and get an away goal at the Galaxy. The away goal rule is still in effect in this tournament. For some reason, they have not modernized that. I know CONCACAF, or no, not CONCACAF. I know the actual Champions League in Europe has done away with the away goal rule. They have not in CONCACAF, so they're going to want to take one here. But for the Galaxy, I feel like you really want to protect the home fortress from any away goals. If you could escape this game with a cheeky 1-0 win, no away goals, you are in a real good position, because if you could get one goal at Tigres, they're in big trouble. So I think you want to win this game, but more importantly, keep them off the board. So go ahead, guys, on your thoughts on this matchup.
Yeah, Tigres is going to be a tough one. Obviously, what's it called? So Tigres, it's an interesting story for them. They started off the season pretty poorly, and then one of their own players retires and becomes their manager, and ever since they have become undefeated. So definitely an interesting storyline, but hopefully we can get a win. They obviously beat Cincinnati to get to us, so it's gonna be a tough one. I mean, when they played at Cincinnati, they tied 1-1, so they got that away goal, and they were kind of smooth sailing into the second round as they head back to Mexico. But hopefully history doesn't repeat itself and they get another away goal against an MLS team.
Yeah. Sean?
Yeah, this is going to be an insanely difficult game. Even though we're the host team, we know Liga MX teams, their fan bases do get good attendance out here, especially in Los Angeles. So expect to see a lot of Tigres fans for this game. I think it's going to be near impossible, really, to keep the clean sheet against them, considering how our season's going and just how dominant Tigres can be. I would love just for us to get a nice 2-0 win. Again, I think that's going to be almost impossible to do, but just win this game. Don't let them dominate the ball off of you. Don't let them push you around. Don't let them make it seem like you're the away team and you have no hope after this game, because you still have to go to their place as well. So if you can just show that you're here to compete, that's going to be changing this game a lot, and maybe will be enough to get you a win at home.
Yeah, I think Tigres, by the way, have this. We have the home match first instead of the second leg, because they scored more goals. They had a better aggregate score in the quarterfinal or in the
It goes
round.
by
Yeah.
what's it called? So it goes by like points. So they tied the first game and won the second. So they had 4 points, and so did we. And then it went to we had 3 points. So they automatically got the second leg at home. And I think if you're tied, then it goes to that goal differential.
That's so weird. That's so weird.
It's a weird way, yeah.
But
And then
that is why they will be getting the benefit of the second leg, being at home. Obviously, you saw the Galaxy turn everything around against Herediano. Everything this game, in my opinion, is setting up for the Galaxy to make things easier on yourselves on the road. Because if you end up dropping a tie here, like a 2-2 draw, or you end up losing, you're in real trouble when you go on the road to Mexico. But if you're able to get a win, 2-1 win or something, then you set yourselves up a bit better. But realistically, you want a clean sheet. Is that possible for the Galaxy in our current form? I'm not sure. I actually didn't know the story about Tigres player becoming a manager. I think that's really interesting. You got Antuna on the other side of this game. You got some Galaxy connections here too. This is a real interesting one. The Galaxy have never played Tigres in a competitive matchup. So that being said, for this game, I will have the Galaxy winning 2-1. I think they'll turn things around at home and win 2-1. I don't think we'll get the satisfaction of a clean sheet, though. You guys?
I think it's going to be a 1-0 game. It's going to be tight. and then for your Galaxy runs away kind of match analysis or report kind of thing. Player to keep an eye out for is Juan Brunetto. He's actually the guy that's kind of pictured on the right for Tigres. He's their center mid. He's very quick, shifty. If you guys remember in the MLS All Star game, this guy scored an absolute banger. I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correct. Oh no, maybe it's just Inter Miami, I think, in last year's CONCACAF Champions Cup. He scored an absolute banger to, I think, knock out Inter Miami. So the guy is really good. Keep an eye on him.
Yeah, for sure. Keep an eye out on him. They have some very dangerous players. Sean?
Don't want to bring bad vibes here, but I think we lose this game 2-1, unfortunately. I think they will get the better of us late in this game. And again, set pieces are going to be a huge issue. And all it's going to take is just one corner to go their way, and the ball's in the back of the net, and we're down a goal.
Yeah, I could see that. I know a lot of people are already wondering how the Galaxy will end up winning against Tigres. I think, Galaxy runs LA, you could speak for yourself. But I think it's possible. I think if the team shows up for this game and they're ready to go, we build into MLS play, we get a win against Orlando. You could have some real positive momentum going into Tigres and potentially get a win. That being said, it's going to be a very close matchup. You want to make it interesting for the second leg here, because if you lose like 3-1 this first leg at home, why even bother going up to? I mean, obviously you want to compete and win, but like, it's realistically, you're not going to turn it around if you lose this matchup at home, especially if they get a couple away goals. So you really need to win this home game. I think the Galaxy know that. I think the Galaxy know that if they want to knock off Tigres, they're going to have to. Cincinnati took them to the ropes. I mean, it was really the second half of leg 2 where Tigres separated themselves from FC Cincinnati. And Cincinnati aren't the greatest team right now. I think they're starting to hit form, but I don't think Tigres are invincible by any means. I mean, I don't know. Why do you have the Galaxy winning then? Galaxy runs LA.
So I remember watching this at the airport on my way to Barcelona, and I remember watching that it was the first leg, so Cincinnati at home, and I was thinking like Tigres isn't that good. Like Cincinnati was kind of manhandling them. I believe Denke got the goal, and they were kind of smooth sailing, and then all of a sudden, Tigres gets a goal, and the tie's level, and they have the away goal. So you just can't switch off against these teams because they're clinical. They got these really they got this big striker who's just an absolute hold up monster. So Yoshida and Zarka got their hands full. They also play a 5 back, absolute bums. So it's gonna be a tough one. A Galaxy always struggles against a 5 back. We saw Minnesota play it over the weekend, so hopefully we can do good against this 5 back and get a good result at home. Take it to Mexico.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning that I think we'll have a podcast on Wednesday after this game. I know we usually run Tuesdays, but if not, we'd have to be previewing 4 games today, and that's realistically just not happening. So we'll probably have a podcast on Wednesday previewing the MLS game that weekend and then the second leg against Tigres. Not to spoil the second leg against Tigres, I don't think the Galaxy advance further than the series regardless. Could they get to the semifinal? Sure. I have us winning 2-1 this game, but I do not think we will get the job done in Mexico. I think that away goal might be very pivotal for Tigres. So yeah, any last thoughts on this matchup? Who do you have scoring? I'll say I'll have a weird goal. I'll have Miki Amane getting one, and then we'll just say Christian Ramirez. I'll say Christian Ramirez in a 2-1 win. Galaxy runs LA.
Let's see. I think we get a Diego Fagundes goal.
That'd be interesting. I'd really like to see that. Sean?
I think you get a Paintsel goal here.
That's an important part of this matchup that maybe we haven't touched on enough, is the fact that I would expect Joseph Paintsel to start this game. That might really help unlock the Galaxy's offense. You'll have our front 3, which will be for the rest of the season, our strongest front 3, which is Joseph Paintsel, Christian Ramirez, and Gabriel Peck. That is our front 3. It's going to cause a lot of issues this season for opposing teams. And how fast Joseph Paintsel gets back into form, I could see him get a goal this game, honestly. But He might get an assist, in my opinion, but I would love to see him get a goal and hear blessing, as you were talking about earlier. Galaxy runs LA, so yeah. Do you guys think, last thing on this, Joseph Paintsil's impact? Do you think it's going to be just an adjustment for him, or do you think he's going to just hit the ground running?
I hope he hits the ground running. We need it. We need that threat on the other flank. Obviously, Peck's kind of struggling just because there's no ISO for him. He's going up against 2, 3 people at all times pretty much. So that's why I kind of seen that drop off from Peck. I don't think it's due to his ability, but just the fact that they're absolutely pressing him and he can't do anything. So I think it's going to be pivotal that Painsil comes back and kind of takes the weight off Peck's shoulders.
100%. Sean?
I think Painsil hits the ground running coming back. He's shown that he can be a huge factor in MLS and that he has that ability. And we even saw it last year against Chivas. I'm pretty sure Painsil scored a goal against them. So it's not like he can't score up against the big teams because he's a big game player, and I think he'll show up for this game 100%.
Yeah. You got a question in the chat. What were the vibes when you talk to Painsil? He's very laid back. He's a very laid back guy, honestly. He's very focused and determined to get back, but he also has that edge to him where you saw after MLS Cup, he's like, go ahead, like try. Like I knew they're going to do that. I knew I was going to score this game. Like I knew they're going to focus on Peck. I'm faster than anyone on this pitch. So I feel like he has the right mentality when it comes to the game. But, as a person, he's just laid back. We talked about the EP drop in. He's just a chill guy for sure. So I like Joseph Paintsil to hit the ground running as well, Sean. I think the tune-up game will be Orlando. Get him like 20 minutes, come in. Maybe you'll see Joseph Paintsil kind of be a bit timid against Orlando. But I think this Tigres game, he's going to be ready. He's been training with this club a couple weeks now, working very hard to get himself back on the field. He's not going to let this opportunity go. He knows how much this team needs him, so he will rise to the occasion, in my opinion. And then the last official thing we got here is a jersey leak. Tika, would you like to start on this?
Yeah, so Footy Headlines reported a couple of days ago that every MLS team will be getting a third kit for the 2026 season. I just reported it probably like an hour ago, just before the podcast. So obviously, it would be really cool because you're getting another third kit. Obviously, bank account's not going to be very happy, but me myself is happy. And then one of our friends of the podcast, Galactic Zone, go follow him over on Instagram. He came up with this concept kit. We're thinking it's going to be like a retro kit, almost kind of like last year's. So I think yellow is going to be the main color on the jersey, and we're thinking it's going to be green to kind of get that retro feel. And obviously, we got the sash back, and I think it's going to be nice. I can't wait.
Yeah, Sean?
I can't lie. This was the first time hearing of this. So, I mean, I'm excited. Like you mentioned, Galaxy fans LA. The bank account won't be too happy with you getting a new home or away kit every year. And then on top of a third kit now, I hope it's yellow. I think we rock yellow really nicely. Hopefully, these kits last maybe like three-ish years instead of 2 that we see normally. But that's just what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, it's important to note that this is a mock-up. This is not officially what it will look like, but I know, Samuel in the chat says this gives off like 05 vibes. When I think of this jersey, like in kind of retro Galaxy kits that look like this, I think of Landon Donovan and how he repped that. I don't know. Do you guys think of any other player repping like a retro 05 Galaxy kit or something like this?
For some reason, I'm getting Carlos Ruiz vibes. Don't know why, but that's what I'm getting. And then obviously, what's it called? So 2026 season, we're also getting a new home kit. So 2 new kits for the season. That's $300 down the drain. So gotta get that money up.
Yeah, you gotta be working hard. Sean?
I don't know. I just get Kobe Jones vibes here.
Yeah.
That's a good one as well. I mean, getting the statue. This could be the, celebrate Kobe Jones' legacy. This could be the kit to celebrate Kobe. I definitely agree. I guess now that I'm looking at it a bit more, I could see like Cienfuegos too, or some LA Galaxy legends. But it could be way different than this. This is just the initial mock-up of the kit, so I think it'll be interesting to see the Galaxy get another away kit. By the way, it's so expensive getting a kit nowadays. It's like to get the nameplate on the back of the Ryzen was like $200. So that's like an authentic Ryzen with the nameplate's $200. So it's a bit ridiculous. I would like to see that come down, but I don't think it ever will. You got the Nike partnership potentially starting 2030 with the sponsor. Obviously, all these kits are run through Adidas right now. I don't mind Adidas. Would you guys prefer to see Nike?
I mean, I think Adidas is doing a good job, so I don't see why we have to stray away from that. But obviously, it'd be kind of cool. I feel like the news reported, if you guys didn't know, is that by 2030, MLS is looking to kind of move away from Adidas in a sense for the kit manufacturing and kind of letting MLS teams kind of do their own thing, or maybe even partnering with like a Nike or a Puma or an Umbro to make their own kits. So
Yeah.
I think it's a cool idea. Personally, I'm on the side of let MLS teams choose what they want to do. I mean, that's how every other league in the world is. I don't see why we can't do that. Kind of try to integrate, kind of be like them.
Yeah, single entity things. Sean?
I don't think we've had a bad kit from Adidas in a while, so I'm fine with Adidas here. I wouldn't mind Nike. I think they have produced quality kits, but they've also had lots of misses. If we do get Nike, that would be a little nice as well, because I'm pretty sure their jerseys are a bit cheaper price wise. But yeah, I would love Nike as well for it being I believe that was our first kit manufacturer, correct?
Yep.
So yeah, I would
And
love.
I can confirm Nike kits are the same price. I just
Oh, never mind.
dropped 180 on a Barcelona kit with a nameplate. So it's not much cheaper.
Yeah, that's rough. I'm a Liverpool fan, and I feel like we have the most bland kits every year. It's pretty much the same thing, and I don't know if that's an issue on our part, but I feel like Nike is not a very, attractive sponsor in my opinion, because I feel like they just produce very boring kits. I would love to see the Galaxy continue with Adidas, honestly, because like Sean said, they don't really miss. Like I think some of the best Galaxy kits that we've seen in our history have come from Adidas, and I don't mind them continuing to be our sponsor. But will that happen? Probably not. I agree. Let teams choose, but I don't think that will end up happening because MLS is a single entity league. So I think they'll just, roll with one sponsor and have that be the thing for everyone. They're very selective. I know Nelson, who used to work for the Galaxy, talked about that a lot, how much everything basically runs through MLS, including kits. The Galaxy don't get a say on these. So I think the same thing will go with the partnership. But last thing here, questions from the chat. You guys could, once again, direct them at Galaxy Runs LA, Sean, or myself, or just have all of us answer them. But in the meantime, what's your dream sponsor? Let's say Herbalife's out of the equation. What's your dream sponsor for the Galaxy?
Let's see. You know what I kind of like? I
Hmm.
like Spotify. Spotify looks really
Okay.
nice on the Barca jersey. Could just be the Barca bias coming out, but Spotify looks nice.
Yeah,
They also got that yellow. I guess it could be any color, but it's yellow in Barcelona, and that'd look real nice on this kit with instead of Herbalife.
I agree, Sean.
Man, I'm gonna have to have some Arsenal bias here and stay Emirates. I think their sponsor is nice. It looks classy, especially on Real Madrid. However, I also wouldn't mind if we do what we did for the retro kit last year and just have it say Galaxy on the front, because that looked really, really nice.
Yeah, too much money missing there, though. Just too much money to not, Herbalife money is just so much. Before we go into a question we got here for Galaxy Runs LA, I agree. I mean, Tesla a couple of years ago, I'd have really liked to see it, not so much nowadays. But I think Spotify would look really cool. Conversely, we go through Apple. Give me Apple Music. Sorry, give me Apple Music. I have no clue what that would look like on a Galaxy kit, but give me a cool Apple Music design. And I don't think they've ever sponsored a kit, but go ahead. Give me that. But we got a question here for Galaxy Runs LA. Did you go to a game in Spain? Let's hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to talk about. Highly recommend, but I did go to 2 games, and it should have been 3. Obviously, if you're keeping up to like Barcelona news and all, obviously one game got canceled over the weekend because their doctor died. So I was kind of sad. I got to the gates and they start closing. I'm like, what's going on? And like, oh, someone died. And then later that night, I found out that the doctor died. So I was kind of sad. But then I
Yeah.
went to the Champions League game versus Benfica, and then I traveled to Madrid to watch Atletico versus Barca. So really fun, good times.
Yeah, Sean. Oh wait, not Sean. I'm just Brandon here in the chat is asking to have Christian Ramirez slide in his DMs. I mean, I don't. Let's okay. Let's get like genuine questions in the chat, please, guys. But yeah, I know you were in Barcelona. That is really sad to hear about the team doctor passing away. I heard about that when it went on too. Did you ever get to see the like rescheduled fixture of that game, or did you just completely
No,
miss
it's actually tomorrow. So
it?
yeah, so Rafinha's got to travel back to Barcelona after tonight, and then hopefully he's ready because we
Yeah.
need him.
Yeah, no, 100%. Barcelona, I know, competing for La Liga and the Champions League right now. So, how was the city in general?
Oh, it's so nice. The architecture's so nice there. Highly recommend it if you haven't been.
Yeah, I know you're a Barcelona fan. I've only really seen pictures of like Madrid as a city. I know that's very nice too, even though I do not like Real Madrid as a Liverpool fan. But would you guys rather have CONCACAF Champions Cup and Leagues Cup or another MLS Cup? That's a real interesting question. Go ahead, Galaxy Runs LA.
Okay, let me read the question. Would you rather CCC and League? I feel like it'd be cool to have a CONCACAF Champions Cup under our belt. Obviously, it's us in Seattle, and I guess ours people say isn't legit because it wasn't the modern times. So, kind of just to shove that in their face and say, "Hey, we won one in the modern era." So, I think that'd be cool to win a CCC.
100%. Sean?
As much as I would love a 7th MLS Cup right now, my eyes are all on CONCACAF. Don't even add Leagues Cup to that, and my answer will still be CONCACAF, just because I think it would be really cool to win one now, especially with the noisy neighbors trying to downplay ours, even though they don't have a one on their patch when they play in CONCACAF on their game days.
Yeah. Give me CONCACAF as well. I mean, you could throw Leagues Cup in there. I don't care about Leagues Cup that much. Although if we win it, I'll definitely celebrate it. But give me CONCACAF. We haven't won it since 2000. I know there's now DC United and Seattle tied with us for the most CONCACAFs. Bring us back to the top among MLS teams. Shut everyone up. And actually give us Club World Cup. I know there's been a lot of discussions about Leon, who got disqualified. We deserve that spot. We got robbed by Inter Miami. Inter Miami have no business being in that competition. It should have absolutely been the LA Galaxy. Give us the Club World Cup spot. Give us everything we deserved in the year 2000, and really prove to everybody who's like the Galaxy, have no modern relevancy of winning trophies, especially in CONCACAF. Just do it. Like win a CONCACAF, and we're in the quarterfinals, so maybe that'll happen. But yeah, we got another question here. Question for Sean: did you get any autographs today?
Yes, fortunately, I got most of the team. Just a few players that left a bit early, and just a few players that are also injured as well.
Yeah.
It was a great time out there. If you guys ever get the opportunity to go, I highly recommend it. It's a great time to connect with some of the other fans there. Everyone there is lovely, as well as all of the players are really nice and take time to talk to you and take photos as well.
Yeah. If we beat Tigres, do we have any chance at advancing to the next round, guys? Or advancing to the final, basically.
Is it Club America next? I'm pretty sure.
Club America, or I know it's another really difficult Mexican team, but it would likely be Club America, or let's see. I don't know if they have the matchups in here right now. We got a really difficult side of the bracket. I know it's another
Cruz Azul.
Yeah, we're not advancing to the final.
Absolute monsters.
Yeah. Club America, Cruz Azul. Take take your pick, but either way, I don't think we advance, even if we get lucky enough to upset Tigres here. Sean, do you disagree anyway?
Club America is a really difficult team. I watch them all the time. They would not be easy to beat whatsoever. Don't watch much of Cruz Azul, but I know they're a powerhouse as well. But I can see us getting through. I mean, that's just also me being hopeful here, but
Yeah.
if we can beat Tigres, what's stopping us? Why can't we get through to the final?
I guess that's fair. I mean, I know Club America and Cruz Azul are just powerhouse teams, though. I feel like, if lightning strikes once and we manage to beat Tigres this round, I don't imagine it strikes again in the same spot and we get to the final. I just don't see it happening. I'd love for it to happen, but I think that's a bit wishful. Let's see. We will all be at Tigres, yeah. Everyone, I'm in ACB. You guys will also be at Tigres game or no? Okay.
I got college practice and then
Oof,
college classes as well. So I have them.
that's rough.
I'll be
Sean,
supporting the team from the screen though,
there we go. Sean,
always.
Yes, I'll be there. I'm excited to be there.
yes, sir. ACB 121. Should the Galaxy take Leon's spot? I touched a bit on that. You guys go ahead. Galaxy runs LA. Should we take their spot?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Sean.
It's a just absolute disgrace that we are not in the Club World Cup. If we do not get added into this from Club Leon spot, man, I don't think I will ever forgive FIFA as an organization for that. They're taking this away from us for no reason because there's reasons because Messi and friends will make more money for them. But
Yeah.
we were better than every other team in the league, and we have the star above our crest to prove that.
Yeah.
Supporter shields don't give you anything on your jersey, but an MLS Cup does.
They fired their head coach. Yeah, they fired their head coach after winning the Supporter Shield and breaking the points record. If anyone wants to talk about how meaningless the Supporter Shield is and an unbalanced schedule, the Galaxy should. And in fact, I believe there's $50 million we got robbed of that all teams competing in this competition get, including Seattle and Inter Miami, that we will not be receiving because FIFA loves Messi. And it's just like, make up for it. You have your chance. Do I think we will get it? No, I think Club America gets it, honestly. We have a real good chance, but I think it will go to Club America. And we'll wrap it up with one last question. If we were full strength with Ricky this year, do you think we could win multiple trophies like CONCACAF, MLS Cup, Leagues Cup, Supporter Shield, etc.? Go ahead,
I think
guys.
yes is a simple answer. I mean, obviously, so we're in 4 competitions. We got MLS, we got Leagues Cup, we got Champions Cup, then we got Campeones Cup, and that's a one-off game versus Club America, and that's going to be at the Digs, I believe. I think it's all of those games are held in MLS or in the US. So, I mean, I think with Ricky we win multiple, but realistically, I think our only chance of winning a trophy this year is going to be that one-off game versus Club America.
Yeah, Sean?
Yeah, I agree. It's with Ricky, we're one of the best teams the league has ever seen, in my opinion. And I think we would have had a real good shout to win CONCACAF and also go back to back. Yeah, I can see us potentially even winning Leagues Cup with our current squad, especially maybe if we can get a player in the summer before that tournament starts. I can see us having a good shot at Leagues Cup for sure.
Yeah. By the way, our first fixture, if we took their Club World Cup spot, would have been Chelsea. That would have been a competitive match. That would have been a really fun matchup if we would get into the Club World Cup. We'll have updates to come. I heard a lot of it's politics. But going back to the question, to wrap things up, yes, I think the Galaxy would have I don't know if we would have repeated MLS Cup with Ricky, but if he was with this team, I think we would have for sure had a chance at challenging for CONCACAF. I think we would have won the Shield and the hot take maybe. I think we would have won the Shield and Campeones Cup, maybe Leagues Cup. I think we would have won 2 trophies this year if we had Ricky, potentially. So, any last thoughts? Any last comments, guys? All
I
right.
think I'm good.
Where can we find you, Galaxy Runs LA?
Galaxy Runs Away on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, or X.
Here we go. Sean?
You can find me at Galaxy News 101 on Twitter and on Instagram.
And for myself, and before anyone leaves, make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. I am LA Galaxy_Buzz on Instagram. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We will be back probably on Wednesday. Will not be a Tuesday show because of the Tigres matchup, but we will likely be back on Wednesday to preview an MLS fixture and CONCACAF. But that is it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you all next episode.